So I'm downstairs today because I want to have a look at a game that's one of those games that you kind of really want to play and you really want to finish it and everything. What ends up happening is you just have to sell it in the end because it just fucking crashes so many times. It's just infuriating. So if you pop over to the games section on the XMB or whatever you call that shit, and we'll see here we've got Need for Speed Shifting. And this is a game that I'm talking about. So I invested quite a few hours into the game. I'd probably say I've got about 50% of the way to fully completing it. And it's just a buggy, crash-filled mess. It's not, you know, gameplay bugs. It's just the game crashes, and annoyingly, the most often that it crashes is when you get to the Need for Speed World Tour, which is pretty much the final series of races. So you know, you invest the hours in, you get to what's kind of the top tier of racing in the game, and it just fucking fucks you in the ass for it. So it's a game that I've decided to get rid of. Probably only going to get probably £1.30 back from it after postage and all that stuff, but yeah, it's worth it just to not have a game in my collection that will infuriate me. Interestingly, from what I've seen on Google, Shift 2 is supposed to be really bad for bugs, which is interesting because I couldn't really find anything on the first game. So yeah, so if we go through to career mode, I'm not hunting for bugs here, by the way, I'm actually playing the game. So there's Need for Speed Live World Tour here. This is one that crashes. This event here, Need for Speed Live World Series, I get to the 4th race out of 5. I finish the 4th race and then it crashes before it loads the next level. It just, next track, it just freezes. So you've got different tiers here. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiers. I'm not sure whether there's anything after that World Tour. I assume not. So we'll have a look at the cars I've got first. My cars, Audi RS4. These ones just, you know, like the Audi, it's just a fucking car that I bought because I just had like $2 million in the bank and nothing to spend it on, so I bought some crappy cars like that. And probably my favourite car would be this, just because it looks like my car that's outside but on steroids, because it's not an M3. Porsche Cayman, Veyron, yeah, that's about it. We've got, basically for me, the Zonda R is just the best car in the game. So I've had a look at the cars. You've got all your car, you know, you can buy cars. There's not a massive selection of cars really. You know, that's it for tier 1, that's it for tier 2, that's it for tier 3, that's it for tier 4, and then you got some drift cars, not really interested in that, and then that just shows them all. So, you know, it's not Gran Turismo. Let's get back in. Right, so we'll try a race that I haven't done yet. Well, it's Europe series. Oh, it's tier 2, so I won't be able to select a different car. Yeah, I can't select that one. So we'll go with the beefed up E46 M3 on steroids. The handling in this game, for me, kind of sits somewhere between Forza and Gran Turismo, I'd say. It's kind of like Forza, but not as forgiving at high speeds. It's kind of twitchy, and I think it makes it feel like you really are racing a car and struggling to get around the corners. So I quite like the handling, to be honest. Right. Oh bloody hell, it's a drift. I didn't realise it was a drift. I hate the fucking drift. So yeah, this is fucking drift mode. I've just accidentally fucking ended up on. Rubbish. It's not a nice drift mechanic at all, to be honest. You can't really get the car up to any sort of speed. Requires, you know, a lot of precision. It's not really a big enough part of the game to really need to master it, if I'm being honest. There's only, you know, the odd race. You can easily get to the World Tour without doing any drifting or any bad drifting. For fuck's sake. Yeah, as you can see, I'm not too hot on the old drifting. Yeah, I'll fucking quit that. I'm not doing the drifting rubbish. I used to like the drifting in like the older Need for Speed games. I think Underground 2 had it. It wasn't too bad, and Carbon and all them. Drift, fucking drifts. We'll just go for this, one of these, Race at Alpental, wherever that is. One thing I do think is good is, as you can see on the screen, works conversion. I missed that out of the newer Gran Turismo games. You used to be able to, most of the cars used to be able to just, once you've modified them up, you could buy another modification that basically turned it into a full-on race car. I find that, you know, I just find that I miss that from the later Gran Turismo games. They didn't really add it in the first 2 games, I think. Right, so proper race now. Music's pretty decent in this game, you know, plenty of licensed tracks, mainly drum and bass. The difficulty is, it's quite unforgiving to begin with, but once you get used to the way that the cars handle, it's not too hard. There are some challenging races, especially the head-to-head races where it's, you know, one car versus another and you're just racing sections of track. As you can see, it's got the obligatory current gen racing line feature that I think Forza basically pioneered. And if you keep to the racing line, you'll see at the top of the screen there's like a kind of charge bar and I guess it's a multiplier bar, and you get points as you're on the racing line, and you get points for like mastering corners and, you know, overtaking and even crashing into people. And once you fill that bar, basically you get a 2 times multiplier. I've never had more than 2 times multiplier in this game. You get more points for doing the same shit, and then them points level you up eventually when you get enough, and you move up a driver level. I think there's 50 levels, I'm at about 25. And every time you move up a driver level you get some sort of prize, like you usually get a couple of prizes. You get like garage slots and maybe a car, you know, some money, so that's pretty cool. But really, it's pretty hard to get around the tracks without the driver's line, to be honest. It's a game that zips by at a fair rate. and as I say, the handling does get a bit twitchy at higher speeds, but it all adds to that sensation of speed. Definitely an exciting game, but unfortunately it also fucking crashes when you try and finish the bastard thing, so that's kind of a big ass negative. Never really came across any game ruining bugs when I was playing any kind of previous generation games, but this generation of PS3 and Xbox 360, I've come across quite a few bugs. I'm guessing it's due to the fact that you can patch games. You know, there's that system by default in place to be able to patch and update games. I mean, I was playing that pretty basic game really, that Sherlock Holmes something or other on Ripper Street. No, Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper, that was it. And you know, I was enjoying the game, and there's a bug in it where you just can't complete one of the puzzles if you do something, and I did that, and it was like halfway through the game and I just thought, you know what, I can't be bothered, so I sold that. Another one was, I think, the first Condemned game, well, it might have been the second one, I can't remember. I've completed both of them, but one of them has got a bug. I think it ruins your save game, so I basically played that, and it ruined my save game, but I did go back to that, so let's get the Zonda out. You need the Zonda to feel the speed, feel the need for speed. So back. The reason why next tracks, is it? I go for a time attack. These aren't too bad. Oh, for fuck's sake, no. Back. Next tier. Damn it, motherfuckers. Berkshire Superstar restricted competition. There we go. I don't know these I haven't done. Looks like I'm pretty bad on this one. It looks like it's just a circle. I forgot what I was going to say then. Yeah, so still waiting for news on my job, and the reason why I'm filming this downstairs is because upstairs I've taken the micro SD card out of my PSP, which is using a memory stick converter. So I'm transferring everything using the computer upstairs, which I usually use to record from. And the reason for that is that my 8GB SD card in my camera just isn't big enough to cope with making videos upstairs. So hopefully by the time I finish doing this video, the contents of that card will be on my hard disk, and I can start doing some, I don't know, PS2 and Xbox videos. So as you can see here, you can kind of get a sense that, you know, the back end on the car's a bit twitchy and that. The crashes are a bit kind of spectacular in this game, but I wouldn't really say realistic. The cars seem pretty damn light. Occasionally you'll be kind of jostling with a car for that skipping around. You'll be jostling for position, and you'll just end up going underneath the car in front, and that'll just like glide over your roof and spin out or something. Can get a bit silly. We'll try and cause a crash here if we can to get a hold of the fucking back end. Come on, catch up these bastards. Come on, let's go fucking crash. Nope. Just skip along. No, still no result from trying to crash. Usually, if I just sort this out, because I did change this, usually these are on 100. I did actually turn them down so you can hear the music when I was playing before. So we'll turn these back on, back up to 100, and pretty much you can't hear the music, you just hear the engine, so that's why I did that. Probably to complete this race you want to be doing it with a Veyron really, just because whilst the handling's pretty crap on the Veyron, in essence it doesn't really slide around corners like this thing does. Failing miserably here. Whoa, what the fuck? See what I mean? This bitch is twitchy. Yeah, so I'm doing miserably there. This is it's a game you really need to concentrate on. Very difficult to do a video and talk and play it and not just be spinning around in circles and hitting fucking barriers. So, as you can see, as usual these days, you're restricted to cars that you can use. Them events there are supercar restricted, so you need a supercar. You also got works restricted, so only cars that have had the works modification. These car battles, these are where two cars are pitted against each other, so you got like Veyron versus Koenigsegg CCX, Veyron versus Sonda R, CCX versus Lamborghini Remington, just things like that. Manufacturer, so just a single manufacturer. Works versus supercar, so pretty interesting one. Not done this one before, not tried it, so race at the Nordschleifer. Race at Donington. So yeah, the game has very slick presentation, but I think that is inevitably its undoing. I think it's when it's trying to load the kind of gubbins between races at the later stages, that's when it just freezes, which is pretty freaking irritating. I'll have a quick dabble on this race and then I think that's enough. We're at fucking 19 minutes so far. Hopefully if I do start the job eventually, I will be able to get some sort of capture device where you know, it's using HDMI and I can just have it connected up all the time to my consoles down here and like use my laptop to record or something like that. Kind of not ideal, my methods of recording at the moment, obviously. But I need money to fucking eat, man. more games. Play games all day and shit. Eat kebabs. Yeah, as you can see, like basically the Zondra just fucking obliterates all. Yeah, reeling them in, reeling them in, reeling them in. See ya! Out breaking them all. Getting out the corner, a bit sideways, accelerating them, even the same freaking car. Cutting it up. Making them spin out, applying that pressure. Also pretty impressive that there's like 16 cars on the track. Sometimes when you get these games, they just come to a complete halt with that amount of cars on the track. There is a bit of slowdown when they're all in view, but you know, it's quite an achievement. So I think that wraps up the video. I'm going to complete this race off camera. But yeah, it's one of those games. It's a great game, but if you do buy it, it's only, I think someone bought this off me and they've paid something like £3.87 total on Amazon. I'll only see like £1.30 of that or whatever due to fees and postage. But yeah, it'll cost you that much, but you can't buy it intending to actually complete the game because it's just impossible. It just crashes, which is pretty annoying. So a game that had potential. I've not played the second one. I'll probably check it out at some point. But a game that had potential but just fell at the final hurdle for me. Did enjoy playing it until it just fucked up. That's my fucking opinion.